I'm Ethan Sabo, and this is Real Politics. Well, we all know who was brimming with excitement following Biden's election victory that is yet to be certified by the Electoral College. No one other than failed presidential candidate Cory Booker, who has jumped on the gun of introducing legislation that is framed and named as the Justice for Black Farmers Act. Doesn't this sound familiar? Hello, South Africa. How you doing? Cory B got together with a few of his pals who also performed poorly during the Democratic primaries, hoping that their single-digit percentages will yield a combined success. So, who else is on board with the give your land away for free based on the color of your skin policy? No one other than Pocahontas herself, Elizabeth Let's Take a Selfie Warren, and Kristen Gillibrand. Remember her? The New York Congresswoman who entered politics supporting gun rights and physical conservatism, further stating she intends to secure the southern border. But then, like most every other politician, the Clintons got to her. She didn't want to miss out on Tea Parties of Bill Clinton and Harvey Weinstein when they were useful to her goals. But like other Hollywood phonies, she was quick to say that those were not my friends. But only once the groping allegations were no longer a whisper across the table, but public knowledge. So clearly, we've got a Marvel A-Team superhero combo rolling out this revolutionary bill. Once you look closer, you will find yourself scratching your head thinking, what kind of revolution is this meant to stir up? On its face, to an outside observer, this bill seems incongruous enough. Who doesn't want justice for black farmers? But the problem arises when you start to look at the specifics of the bill and exactly how it proposes to reverse what Booker calls the destructive forces that were unleashed upon black farmers over the past century. One of the dark corners of shame in American history. Yeah, he said that. They're starting with a help thy neighbor approach, which is expected from the sheer level of combined wishful thinking these three bring to the table. So, they're setting out to simply ask white or non-black people to sell their land and give it to the government so that they can sell it to black farmers. And actually, they're not going to sell it, they're just going to give it off to the black farmers. He showed off his brilliant idea like a peacock rustling its feathers, tweeting, "I'm proud to team up with Elizabeth Warren and Senator Gillibrand to introduce the Justice for Black Farmers Act. We need to balance the scales after decades of systematic racism within the USDA that has harmed black farmers." If you read the bill itself, their plan begins by creating a new position within the Department of Agriculture called the Under the Secretary for Equitable Land Access. A neat little Orwellian invention that could also be shortened by simply calling it a federal land czar. The bill will use taxpayer money to buy land from non-black farmers and to convey grants to lend to black individuals at no cost. That seems alright. I guess it's definitely out of fashion to then wonder why other groups of people do have to pay and whether that is racist or not. But I'll leave that for you to ponder. The scary thing is that the bill introduces a slippery slope. One day, they might just come to your land, make you sell it whether you want to or not, and then give it to someone else because of historical suffering. Hello, eminent domain. That's happening here in America. This is America. This is real. In Zimbabwe, where a similar policy played out for 2 decades, the end result is that they actually ended up incentivizing white farmers to come back and farm the land after the low crop yield, resulting in widespread famine across the country. Communism. Correcting historical discrimination is certainly a tall task before it requires us to equate present-day realities to the sins of our elders. But that goes entirely against the grain of America, which is the land of opportunity rightfully reaped by those who want it and work hard for it. Moreover, if the case studies in Africa countries are similar to the policy shed light on the results, it poses a likely disaster scenario where poorly equipped farmers receive 160 acres of land without the tools to maintain it. Cory B and his compadres have also demanded a hefty budget. Are you ready for this? $8 billion annually to purchase land and just give it away. Yep, that's a plan. Deep pockets for a deep agenda that looks good and sounds good to white people who are doing their part in achieving racial equity without having to change one thing about their lives. And instead, they start a manipulation campaign to convince farmers that they should sell their land to the government so that they can decide that people of a different color should have it for free. Don't think for one moment, though, that this interferes with the lives of Booker, Warren, or even Gillibrand, who remain cozied up in their fancy properties. The input of farmers of all races on this matter might have been helpful, as well as the economic contingency plan to the bill that requires recipients to yield a specific crop output so that the land is used appropriately and productively. But we all know that requires crunchy numbers and empirical thinking. And again, that simply is not something the left is interested in. So while they clink their wine glasses with their non-implementable bills and wishful thinking, we're all just going to sit here and watch it happen. I'm Ethan Sabo, and this is Real Politics.